Hey everyone, my name is Lemlyton, and yep, Majora's Mask. Once known as the black sheep of the series, is now being called one of the best ones yet, and for good reason. See, back at its release, Majora's Mask had a lot to carry, thanks to its highly received predecessor, Ocarina of Time, and when the time came, everyone hated it. And for one main reason, it wasn't Ocarina of Time. But now since times has changed and people have started looking back at these two games, Ocarina of Time is now the one being crapped on, while Majora's Mask is the one getting all the glory. But why is that? Well, that's why I'm here to figure it out. And like 1,000 other people has already. And talking to Zelda characters on a poster kinda gets lonely sometimes. Isn't that right, Link? Link? Link! I'm pretty sure like 90% of you watching this video already knows the backstory and all, so I'll just keep it short. Like, really short. Even shorter. There you go. Yep, that's right. This game was only made in 1 year, so that's why you see similar assets and models from Ocarina of Time in Majora's Mask. Because, you know, time limits. And with similar assets comes similar gameplay as well, but Majora does shake it up a bit, and I'll get to that later on in the gameplay section of the video. But for now, let's talk about the actual endgame story. Like mentioned before, this game takes place after Ocarina, where in that game, Navy, your companion, leaves you to do something. Not really sure, but she just leaves you to go watch some porn or something. So Majora starts off with Link looking for her in some creepy looking woods, until Link dies, and then sees this loser messing with his stuff. Link then chases the loser, TM, to this underground looking cavern and notices that the loser got rid of his horse, Epona. But uh-oh, Link looks angry. What is he gonna do? Oh, he just lets the loser transform him into a Deku Scrub. Okay. After that, one of the loser fairies gets left behind and is forced to team up with Link. Here's where you learn that the loser, TM, is actually Skull Kid, and his fairy pals is Tattle and Tell. Or at least however I said it when I was a kid. With Tattle being the one stuck with you. Oh boy. Then after going through a basic tutorial, quote-unquote, of how to use Deku Link, you end up at the Clock Tower, a main area in this alternate Hyrule called Terminal. In the Clock Tower you meet this guy, a creepy mask salesman that only wants the mask back. What mask? Well, Majora's Mask, you stupid idiot. Oh, I'm sorry. But the catch is, he wants it back in 3 days. Why 3 days? Well, oh god, what is that? Is that like a constipated moon or something? That's right, you only have 3 days to get his mask back before the thing comes down and kills everyone around you. Sounds easy, right? So, yeah, I didn't get the mask back, but I did get this cool looking ocarina back. Oh, that's good. So now I can help your curse. So you got the mask? But yeah, that's basically the story. Get the mask back from Skull Kid before the moon falls and kills everyone, and the way to do that is by going to the 4 dungeons to retrieve the 4 giants that helps you on the final day. While the story is a little weird, it's definitely a unique story compared to the other 3D titles. In every other 3D Zelda game, it's Zelda, Stones, Master Sword, Zelda, Twist, Ganon, Dead, Zelda, Sex. It's a great time. Look! It's the game! It's gameplay! Anyway, like mentioned before, Majora's Mask uses the same engine as Ocarina of Time, so the basic gameplay has a lot in common, down to the same and even. But I also mentioned before that Majora has a few tricks up its sleeves when it comes to gameplay. One of those tricks being the previous topic, the 3-day time system. Sesame Street. Like in the story, you have 3 days to retrieve the mask, meaning you actually have 3 in-game days to beat the game. And when first-time Majora's Mask players hears this, they're like, "Whoa, God, what did I do? I'm already on my 2nd day. Like, what did I do? Like." And it really sucks too, because this is like the #1 thing that turns off so many people from playing this game. And in my eyes, it's a brilliant mechanic, because you can use it to your advantage, planning ahead to see what characters does what, and what events happen at what times. It also helps out flesh out the characters and side quests, which I'll talk about in the next section. But for now, let's talk about the other interesting game mechanic, the mask. Throughout the game, you'll be collecting an assortment of masks, ranging from wait, I only use this to get a piece of heart? To, wee! Step, step, wee! Can you tell that I'm trying really hard? But the main mask you'll be using is a transformation mask, those being the Deku, Goron, and Zoro mask, all allowing you to take form of that current race. The Deku mask allows you to do lame stuff. The Goron mask, while slow in combat, makes up for being the fastest transportation in the game, besides teleporting with the Song of Soaring. And then the Zoro mask, while kinda useless on land, is really good in the water. Like, really good. Like, you don't know how good it is. Like, if you do, then you're dead to me. And not only that, but you can also take over the lives of dead people when you wear these masks. Sounds lovely, don't it? It's not. Alright, let's start talking about the locations and citizens, starting with the main town of Termina, Clocktown. Here is where you'll find the most of the side quests, characters, and minigames, and all of them are hit or miss. Like, some characters are a huge step up from Ocarina, such as Anju, from being a simple cuckoo farmer, from being a worried wife about her husband, or even the Thief, from being a simple NPC in Castletown to being a big threat to multiple characters. Here, let me just take care of him real quick, and got him. But then again, some characters stay the same, such as Honey and Darling, or this blue-haired chick. Same can go with the minigames in Clocktown. Like, I'll never forget the treasure chest game or the Deku Scrub minigame, but I don't want to do your lame bomb chew target minigame. I don't want these bomb chew. It's not that bad, actually. But overall, Clocktown is such a lively place with good characters and charm. Wish I could say the same about the other places. Like, no joke, every other area in Majora's Mask is like, dying. And I love it. Like, let's take the swamp, for example. Used to be a nice place to take cruises on and see the nice scenery, right? Then Skull Kid happened, and now the swamp is poison and deadly. Oh boy. Or how about the last area, Ikonin Canyon, where it's literally a place of death, with only a father and daughter living in a small house surrounded by nothing, but again, death. And the reason why I said I loved it is because it adds to the feeling of the game, the feeling of helplessness, and despair, and the feeling of, well, death. That's depressing! Well, since we was talking about the locations, we might as well talk about the dungeons as well. Because that's a Zelda game, right? Now, while the dungeon count is pretty small, with only there being like 4 real dungeons and 3 mini dungeons, the dungeons there are pretty solid. The Woodfall Temple, with its creepy and voodoo-like vibe, or the Snowhead Temple, with its focus on verticality and precision. And how about the Great Bay Temple? While confusing, is still a pretty fun dungeon in my opinion. And don't get me started on Stone Tower. Flipping the whole dungeon to just solve puzzles? Freaking count me in. And the bosses in each dungeon are marvelous. I doubt I'm going to use that for anything, but if I do, remind me, future me. Add that snap. And the bosses in each dungeon are also pretty solid as well, with Goat being my personal favorite. Windmill, on the other hand, yeah. And there's also 3 mini dungeons, those being the Pirate's Fortress, Ikonin Castle, and technically the Moon, but we'll talk about that later. But the other 2 are pretty great, with both dungeons not being too long to be counted as a real dungeon, while also feeling like you accomplished something once you're done with it. And the music helps out so well in these dungeons. Like, listen to a few of these. Now I wanted to talk about one last thing before getting on to the final section, and that being, of course, the side quests. And oh my god, I love the side quests in this game. No other side quest gives me the same feeling like Andrew and Cafe Quest, or the Alien side quests. Just thinking about them gives me goosebumps. These are also by far some of the best in not only the game, but also the series in a whole. But we all know how good the side quests are in the game, so let's talk about some of the more annoying ones. Such as waiting 20 years, the side quest. Or wait, I have to go beat those mini bosses again to get the stupid Fra? Or how about my favorite, killing everyone? That's my personal favorite. I love it. That moon crashing scene makes me laugh every time. But overall, the game has some pretty solid side quests, and while there is a few bad ones laying around, it is definitely overshadowed by the really good ones in the game. Yep, this is the inside of the moon. Looks pretty, right? Here is where you'll trade your mask you've collected throughout the game to participate in 4 mini dungeon-like areas as different transformations. Some rooms are actually challenging, while others are just lucky guesses. But after completing all 4 areas, you're rewarded with the final mask of the game, the Fierce Deity Mask. AKA, the mask that makes you a god. Too bad you can only use it during boss fights though. Speaking of which, the final boss, Majora herself, in all her fleshy glory. Now she does go through 4 phases throughout the fight. The mask with other masks, the I wanna be a dancer mask, or phase, and holy crap, look who's been at the gym phase! And while it's a cakewalk with the Fierce Deity Mask, it's still pretty easy without it. Well, sorta. But this is a pretty good final boss, and the feeling of beating her never gets old. Wait, what? After that, the giants go home, Skull Kid turns back to normal, Link leaves, and everyone rejoices at the dawn of the new day. And I don't care what you say about Ocarina's credit scenes, these credit scenes is pure joy, and I love it with all my freaking heart. Just seeing everyone happy and together is great, and you know that was you. You saved their marriage. You saved the Indigo Band. You saved the Goron's demise. You saved Termina. And you could also run for president for 2056. I didn't do the math, so I don't even know if that's an election year, so vote for me. Overall, this game is... I just love it to death. Like, I didn't want to say it at the beginning, but this is my favorite game of all time. Like, I remember playing as a kid, and I remember all the memories I had with it, finding out all the secrets. They didn't have internet, so we was just like, find everything. It was such a good time. And every time I replay it, it never gets old. But really, I don't know what to say about it. It's one of those games that sticks in my heart. It just stabs me in my heart. That's exactly what I mean. And I don't know what to say about it. It's one of those games that holds a special place in my heart. And if you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend it. While yes, the time limit can be stressful at times, it's overall a fun experience, and it'll definitely stick with you after the ending screen.